Hello, hello, hello. This is Haplin with High Level, and welcome to another High Level Masterclass. I am here with a very special guest. His name is Richard, and I would actually appreciate it, Richard, if you could take a second to just introduce yourself and let us know why I asked you to come on here, please.
How this happened. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
happy to. Haviland, I really appreciate the opportunity to get on and share some of what we've built. My name is Richard Whirley. I live just outside of Athens, Georgia. I have run a digital marketing agency as my full-time living for many years now, a decade or so. During COVID, I actually I was already involved with High Level, and during the COVID time period, I had started doing some tutorials and trainings for other digital marketers. That led into doing a bunch of white label work for other marketing agencies, and that kind of just progressed. So I do run an agency full time. I've been using High Level for since it was a very small group. It's huge now, and since it was in the very early stages. But I've used pretty much every major CRM that is in existence, and I push as many of my clients to High Level as I can. And I usually tell them that even if they don't use High Level, a lot of the businesses that I work with are primarily multi-location businesses, and normally already have very established systems in place. You know, they might have a HubSpot or a Salesforce or whatever. And so I always tell them, hey, listen, I'm going to be using High Level anyway for your account because that's where we're going to run our automations and whatever. And then we start showing them some dashboards and easing them into it. And it usually converts them over pretty well. So we've been using High Level at a multi-location business level for a long time. And we work in primarily high dollar, high margin industries. Our agency offering, so to speak, is we want to take over as much of the digital marketing efforts as we can. And then also we take a lot of the operational efforts. If we can kind of streamline efficiencies using the automations, it's less human error, it's fewer touches. That normally goes a long way in the multi-location businesses as well. And it makes it what I call sticky, right? They can't
Mhm.
leave. So if I put all the automations in their CRM and they fire us, well, the automations are still there. But if they're using a white labeled version of High Level, then they kind of can't go away. They become very dependent on us. And I would say the majority of our revenue comes through lead generation. We do a lot of local SEO, and we do a lot of paid ad management. And specifically, again, we work in high dollar, high margin industries. And so our clients usually are spending a pretty decent amount of money, and they're normally in very competitive industries and areas. So what we're going to talk about today was kind of born out of necessity. We charge a premium for our services to our clients, and you have to be able to do a return on investment. You have to be able to do an ROI justification statement. So this was kind of the attribution reporting that is native inside of High Level works well in a whole lot of markets. Like right out of the box, it's probably good enough for many people that are using High Level. We needed to get a little more customized with it so that we could basically justify the amount of ad spend that we're asking our clients to spend, the amount of dollars we're asking them to spend on us, and the efforts that we're putting in from local SEO and whether it's social media or newsletters or whatever. Being able to have really granular and advanced attribution reporting basically allows us to see what's working and what's not. To at the risk of oversimplifying it, we want to be able to see where the money's being well spent, where the energy is being well spent, and where it's not. So this was kind of born out of necessity, both from us doing white label work with other agencies and having to prove our value to them, and from doing it with our own clients and being able to prove not just our value, but also the value of the different efforts. And I've got a couple little side notes and stories on use cases where that might become available later on.
Cool. Awesome. So, I mean, what I heard in there, the big takeaways was you've been in business 10 years working with high level since COVID. And so, for anyone watching this video, Richard is one of those guys who really knows what he's doing. He's been around the block. He's been doing this since before high level even existed, right? And then, second, just like you said it really well, needing to make an ROI statement, needing to justify ROI. How
Mhm.
many folks watching this video want to be able to say, here's exactly how much money you made from XYZ. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you've got high ticket services, if you're doing SaaSpreneurship, if you're running ads, if you're doing organic SMMA stuff, like doesn't matter. You want to be able to say, whether this is for your own business or a client or whatever, anybody who's doing marketing wants, and I would argue needs, to be able to say, here's exactly how much money we made from this. Because when you can do that, then it puts you in the driver's seat to know, like what you said, what's working, what's not, what do you want to spend more on, what do you want to double down on, what do you want to give up on, what's actually working. So many businesses don't actually really know. They kind of have a feeling. They're like, oh yeah, I got on some phone calls with some people who said they heard about us from this marketing initiative or whatever, but like it's a very subjective, a very feelings based kind of insight, and so many business owners just feel like they kind of have to go with their gut with regards to all this, and that's actually not really the case in 2025. Correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, but I think you're about to show us exactly how to escape that vibes based ROI judgment land and
One of my
get us
biggest
into
selling
the
points, man, you just nailed it. You just nailed
right.
it. One of the biggest selling points when everybody's got either an internal digital marketer that they're using of varying degrees of skill level, or they've got an outsourced agency that they're using, or they might have an entire marketing department, depending on the size of the organization you're working with. So how do you differentiate yourself? Well, this again was born out of necessity, but I hate, I'm a very data driven person. I believe in that statement. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so when somebody says, well, I don't feel like the phone is ringing very much.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to show you how many times it rang, what time, the phone numbers, the search terms. I'm going to give you a recording of the call. I'm going to give you a transcript of the call. Like I'm going to take away all of this. I feel like the phone's not ringing stuff. And you may feel like you're not answering it, but I'm going to be able to show you in real detail at a very granular level exactly where it's coming from. So ROI justification, no problem. It's a huge differentiator. And then also, one of those little side notes, like where are the efforts being spent? I'll give you an example. I got I have a client that was spending a ton of money on radio ads as an example. I said,
Oh,
well, let's just test it. Let's just test and see how many leads it's generating, because I wanted the budget to spend on the campaigns we knew were working, right? They had spent an exorbitant amount of money, tens of thousands of dollars on radio, and in 4 months it generated 0 leads. So they were able to cancel that, and we got an extra $10,000 a month on ad campaigns that we know are generating real returns, right? So the attribution reporting, it's such a differentiator if you can do it accurately. And guys, by the end of this, my goal is that you go, well, that's not nearly as difficult to tackle as I thought. Even if you're not a developer, I've tried to make this as easy as possible for you. And if anybody has any questions about it, I'm happy to help out and answer any questions. But the the way that you can differentiate yourself from most digital marketers, because of the capabilities inside a HighLevel and because of what we're going to talk about with this snapshot, it's a game changer. I mean, it should be a game changer if you are calling on decent sized businesses that offer premium products or services.
mhm.
Side note on that, if you're going to be asking them for a premium dollar figure, you better be able to prove that you are providing more than enough return. It's a game changer because of what HighLevel offers and what we're going to cover. So I'm ready to jump in it whenever you are.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, yeah, Richard just said it. This is how you are able to charge more, and this is how you're able to know how much you should charge. So if you're newer to marketing, newer to the agency game, et cetera, and you're like, well, I've heard some agencies charge like nothing. It's like $300 a month. Some people charge $1,500 a month. Like, how do it? The way that better businesses are able to charge their clients more is because they're able to demonstrate this is exactly how much money you're making, and it's a lot, and so I'm going to charge you this much, et cetera. And there's a whole calculus to that we
You
won't
got it.
necessarily get into on pricing and packaging, but this is the foundation for the fundamentals, the technicals of how you're able to even get into that conversation and have it responsibly. But the one other thing that I want to say is that we are going to be covering content right now that is also in a beautiful community course inside of our HighLevel University. And so if this video has been, or if this masterclass is helpful to you, then great. And if you want to learn even more about tracking and about Richard's work and get in touch with him, etc., I'm going to show you at the end how you can access the full course. We'll show you exactly where that lives. But before we get to that, I mean, my appetite is sufficiently built up to learn some things from you, Richard. So I would love for you to get into the meat of it. Let's
Let's
get
do it.
into a lesson here.
Yeah. So first things first, why did I build this? Well, the attribution reporting, as I alluded to earlier, right out of the box with HighLevel, it may work perfectly for you. This may not be needed. But for us, I wanted to move the attribution to the opportunity level. By default, inside of HighLevel, it's at the contact. And the reason that I don't like it at the contact for my use case is because my clients do more than one transaction with most of their clients. That's the goal. And if I'm trying to base my retainer or their return on ad spend or their return on investment with our services, if I'm trying to base that on the, like, one large component of it is the cost per acquisition. How much does it cost us to get a new client? Well, if I get a new client for $150 as an example, but they do 10 transactions with me, my cost per acquisition went way down on transactions 2 through 9. And HighLevel, by default, you can either do first attribution or last attribution at the contact level. How did you get the contact? Well, I want to be able to track every single transaction they did. So a lot of different reasons. That's the core one. We also do probably a different course altogether, but we also pass back the attribution reporting back to the ad campaigns through offline conversions. Helps your ads optimize through the campaign for value as opposed to for conversions, and so you get a lot better return on ad spend. Probably outside the scope of today, but I want to jump in. That's just kind of why this was built, right? We want to move it from the attribution reporting. We want to move it to the transaction level of the opportunity, not the contact level, because if Haplin's buying a piece of equipment from me, if I'm selling equipment or renting equipment, whatever, he might buy 5 pieces. He might have 5 different jobs that I'm helping him with, and so I want to be able to do the attribution reporting and report that back to the ad campaigns on all 5, not just on. It's not Haplin, it's 5 transactions Haplin did. Does that make sense?
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but just to kind of recapitulate or say what I think you're saying is that when you just do attribution on the contact level, that's kind of fine and it's layer 1. It's better than nothing for sure.
Sure.
But a single contact can have multiple opportunities. They can
Mhm.
have multiple journeys down the sales process. And if they were initially generated from a Facebook ad, let's say, and then, had some low ticket purchase and converted on that, great. But then maybe you ran some retargeting or you ran a database
You got it.
reactivation or some other thing that then really that second campaign was the reason that they ended up going down the sales process again. And maybe that was when they converted way higher ticket. Do you want the attribution or do you want to say it was that first campaign that, and mistakenly say it was the first campaign that generated all that revenue? Or do you want to say the first campaign generated this revenue, the second campaign generated the bigger sale?
A different, just real quick quip on that. We do a lot of local SEO and we do a lot of paid ads. Sometimes we'll we'll get a lead from somebody who found us through an SEO campaign, but they don't convert. So now we're retargeting them. Well, if we're only doing first attribution at the contact level, then it's going to say that they converted on the SEO campaign because that's how they originally found us. Or if we're doing last attribution, it's going to say that we converted them on our paid ad campaign through our retargeting through Facebook or whatever. Neither one of those is really accurate because the retargeting campaign wouldn't have been nearly as cheap, quite frankly, had it not been for the SEO campaign, and the SEO campaign may not have gotten the purchase or the initial, the actual conversion. Both are important, and so this
Gotcha.
allows us to track every step of it.
Gotcha. So it's
Let's
not
dive in.
even one or the other. Yeah, yeah. Let's get
Yeah,
into this
it's a
technical stuff. This is
combination.
fascinating. Mhm.
Let's dive in. All right. So I have hundreds of slides that we're going to have to go through one by one. I am totally kidding. The only reason that I even did this slideshow was so that people rewatching this could pause on it. I'm definitely not going to read all this. I think I just gave you more information than what's currently in here. But basically, let's dive into it. Let's dive into optimizing our spends, kind of what we've already alluded to. Understanding the true ROI, that's on all of our marketing efforts, whether it's SEO, paid ads, customer newsletters, social media, whatever it is, right? And then let's make data-driven decisions. I hate that I feel like stuff, right? This is not the good idea, Fairy. We're going to make data-driven decisions. Okay, so some things that we need to understand. Google Ads have what's called a GCLID. It literally means Google Click ID. Let's not overcomplicate it. Google understands that when somebody clicks on your ad, that person, let's say they click and click back and click again, it's going to have two different click IDs. It's just a way for them to understand which campaign or which ad variation down to a very granular level was generated the click for that particular person who hopefully is going to convert and spend money. The same is true on Facebook. They just call it a Facebook click ID, cleverly enough. We can also track things through organic or direct or referral sources through UTMs. We're going to show some examples of that, so don't try to memorize all this. Just think about this at a conceptual level. We're going to breeze through this because it's going to be easier to show it. These are unique identifiers. They're auto-generated by the ad platform. It's not something you're going to have to worry about. We're just going to track that unique identifier. Just think about it like literally as that. It is a unique ID, just like your phone number is, or just like your social security number is. Your social security number belongs to you and only you. If I call your phone number, it doesn't ring somebody else. It only rings you. That's the same with a Google Click ID or a Facebook Click ID. And UTM parameters are how all that is tracked. This is the part that I want you to just at least conceptually understand. I'm going to give you some examples. Do not think this is the only way to do it, right? If you have a naming convention that works for you, or if your client has one that they prefer, by all means, modify this as needed, as long as it's standardized, as long as you know what they mean every time you're using it. So as some examples, you've got the source. Think about that as what generated the traffic, right? And after your source, you got to think about how they got there. And that's through what we call the medium. So as an example, you might have Google as your source, but Google might be an organic search engine optimization campaign, or it might be a local SEO, or it might be a search ad or a display ad, right? So Google would be the source. Search ad would be the medium as an example.
Okay.
Campaign gets you a little further into that. We might have inside of our search ads, we might have one called competitor campaign where we're doing brand match keywords on a competitor, or we might have search ads based on a keyword group that we're using. Down in there, we have UTM term. That would be something like what they're actually searching for. And then the content can be used for like variations, right? So I'll give you an example. If we were doing a brand match, if I was trying to bid on my competitor's keyword, like their brand name, then my variation, my split testing or my A/B testing, one variation might be, we know them, we're not them, we're better than them, right? That might be variation one. Variation two might be, we're giving 15% discounts to anybody that converts from them. So this the content gives me a way to see which one's converting better. Ideally, if you're doing your ads, this is not a paid ad course, but you want to be able to tell what's converting and what's not, so you can trim the fat on your budget and spend the money where it's converting well. So let's look at an example. See all this madness out here?
Yeah.
All this stuff is called UTMs, or they're URL parameters. All it means is it just populates stuff. And we're going to look at an example, but this is an example we're going to take a look at where, in this case, the source is Google. The medium is a paid search campaign. The campaign itself might be Summer Promo 2025. The term they searched for was plumber near me, and the content was search ad variation 2. Again, I could care less what you use for your naming convention through here, just so long as it's standardized and you know what they are, right? So you got your source, you got your medium, you got your campaign. That may be more than enough. And by the way, if it's local SEO, you may only need Google or Bing. Like if you're doing Bing places and Google for Google Business Profile, that may be all you need is your source and your medium. So source might be Google, medium might be, your source might be Google Business Profile. Your medium might be local SEO or Bing places and local SEO. You get the point.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so if we understand that at a conceptual level, then the rest of it's going to fall right into place. You just build out your naming convention. You can use a URL builder. They're free. I purposely did not put one in here. I don't want it to sound like I'm advocating for one over the other. They're a dime a dozen. If you just look for URL parameter builder or URL builder, you'll find dozens. And just figure out what works best for you. Track things at as granular level as you can, and then please keep some kind, I don't care if it's a spreadsheet, I don't care how you do it. Keep some kind of naming convention so that you can share it with the client. They can understand it. Everybody gets it, right? I'm not going to read this. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Write it down on a napkin.
Yeah.
No, just keep it standardized. I'm
Yeah.
purposely not going to read all this to you. I just wanted to put it in here so somebody can pause on it if they wanted the configuration checklist. But that's how we do it. Don't care that you memorize all that. Just at a conceptual level, if you understand it, then I want to show you what's possible. This is a real screenshot from a real client. We create custom dashboards because HighLevel lets us do that. This is a game changer. How many people watching this right now absolutely despise having to send progress reports to their clients? I don't do it. I give them a link. Man, go generate your own report. You can go see. You tell me the metrics you want to measure, and I'll give you a dashboard that's in real time. You don't need to bother me or wait on me for any reporting. So I did this as a screenshot so that I don't give away non-disclosure information with clients or with
Mhm.
leads. But as an example, these are calls in the pipeline. This was from the month of June. Calls in the pipeline, we generated 466 calls. 114 came through Google Ads. 153 came through Google Organic. 18 came through Bing. 102 came through local service ads. Are
Wow.
you able to show your client this? And then if you clicked on one of these, you should be able to show them literally all of them. You
Yeah.
should be able to show them the exact contact, click through to the opportunity itself. You should be able to show them the value. And so at a granular level, man, you've just made your client self-sufficient for all reporting. If you don't take anything else away from this, that should be enough for you to want to do this, because you don't have to go generate reports manually. So dashboards like this, really, I mean, you can do these with dollar figures. I have another one in this account for dollar figures.
Nice.
So we could say out of these LSAs, we generated 102 of them. That represents for that month that 102 was probably a little over $1 million in revenue for that month, just in that one campaign. So when I ask them, hey, I want you to spend an extra $5,000 on local service ads. Well, if you're generating $1 million, they don't care. They're willing to, you know what I mean? Like, it's all ROI justification.
Yeah. Wait, so really quick, just to kind of dumb it
Sure.
down,
Yeah.
like, well, first of all, this stuff is pretty complicated, and it's real kudos to you for sharing it in all of like your experience and wisdom for sure, because this stuff is stuff that's out there, like, and trying to go learn it via like the Google platforms or watching hours of YouTube videos, like the way that you just put that all so succinctly is so massively valuable. And also for folks who are just starting out, can you go back to that the slide with the dashboard?
Yep.
That first row, knowing it came from Google and knowing it came from an ad, organic, blog, or LSA, that's just source and medium, right?
Yep.
So you can
Absolutely.
get to this point just using the first two,
Yep.
but then the real advanced piece is the next part where like basically within each of these, you'll have like the full pipeline with, well, that'll actually be baked in, but knowing which specific, for example, local service ad, if you had like a set of 5 different ads, then to be able to break that down into which specific ad is performing the best, that's when you get into the what was the third layer? I'm already forgetting.
Well, so you've just right. So
Okay.
think Google is your source, and so but Google's not one dimensional. We've got
Right.
Google Ads, we've got Google Organic, that's SEO. We've got Google Local Service Ads. Well, these ads, some are call ads, some are search ads. You might have display ads, you might have YouTube ads, you might have social media ads, right? So just at the source and medium level, you can get pretty granular. And then at the campaign level, now you can get into which campaign of your search ads was generating the best results. The sky's the limit on these dashboards, and they are super simple to set up. I'm going to show you in a second.
Yeah.
It takes the guesswork out. But guys, if you're not setting up these dashboards with this kind of stuff, you are really missing out on some high dollars that you can charge your client, because you're not guessing what's working. And by the way, even if you're doing this for yourself on your own business, you should be doing something like this, because now you know where to spend your own money and your own time. If social media is not generating any leads from you, stop doing it, or stop doing it as much. I mean, so yeah. And we've alluded to it. We're going to dive into an example, but I've got a snapshot right here. I'm going to leave this link up just for a second. It's highlevel.consulting/attribution-snapshot. You can go download the snapshot. We may even make some changes, upgrades to it if people have good ideas on it. But let's take a look and dive into it if you guys are good with it.
Yeah, and
Kaplan, you ready for it?
one other thing that I want to say is mindset wise for people watching this video, the goal is not that, hey, here's all the stuff that you can do, and you have to go learn it all in order to be able to move forward. I want to actually switch that around mindset wise, just for the audience. If you're in the audience and this is your first time learning this, if you're watching this this masterclass right now, think about the business you're working for or the business that you're serving. And if you're not currently serving any businesses, then you need to go work on prospecting and acquisition first, because that is way more important. This is technical operations heavy stuff. This is not where you need to be. But assuming you've got a client, put
We'll do
any
a
client
different
in your mind.
masterclass on that.
Yeah, yeah. And we've got plenty of them, which is great.
I'm sure.
HighLevel
Yeah,
is
yeah.
fantastic with its acquisition support. But think of any business, and if it's hypothetical, that's fine too. Just any business that you want to work with, are working for, whatever your context is. And think about what you would like to be able to provide to them in terms of reporting. Are they a business that are they on Google at all, or are they doing LinkedIn ads? Or are they all social? Is it an influencer on social media, and that's what they really care about? They don't even care about, like, think about your context and what your needs are, and then start to connect the dots to, what do I need to learn? What do I need to be able to implement in order to show what I want to show them? Don't take what Richard's showing and be like, oh, that's what I have to do. He's working with a
Totally.
particular business in a particular context, and that business's needs may not be your own. So think about
It's
what
a great
you are trying to achieve here, and then go learn what you need to learn, which is what Richard is about to show us.
That's a great shift in mindset. I am showing you a way. There
Yeah.
are a lot of ways you can accomplish this. So my way is not the gospel. I hope you learn something from it. Take something. I hope it basically acts as a shortcut for you to be able to get to your version of whatever your needs are. So let's dive in. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
Right. It's got custom fields. It's got a dashboard that's very, very basic. That's intentional. I'll show you how these widgets work. You can modify them as needed, but it's really straightforward. It's got a website, and it's got a form in the website. All that's intentional. I want to show you some of the things. There's some things that work really well when you load a snapshot, and there's other things that don't work for this use case. As an example, I can't preload a custom value for you because the custom value will actually populate, but what I put inside the custom value will not. So there's a little snippet of code. Don't worry, you don't have to be a JavaScript developer. It's written for you. It's copy paste. But let's dive into it, right? So your use case may be totally different. We're just going to take a look at an example. We're going to run some Google ads, maybe a local SEO campaign, and then maybe a local SEO campaign on Bing, and we're going to see where that generates from, okay? First things first. In the custom fields, we have moved it from the contact level to the opportunity level. We've now got an attribution, right? So remember, we talked about our source, Google. We talked about our medium, paid ads. We talked about our campaign, search ad, promo, summer 2025. Your content, your term is what they search for, if that's applicable. Your content, maybe your variation, maybe it's variation 1, variation 2. And then you got a click ID for Facebook, Google. If you want to add Bing, if you want to add LinkedIn, go add as many as you want. This is just conceptual. It's just to get you started. But understand, these are at the opportunity level, not the contact level. That's a huge differentiation. And you're going to see why, hopefully, here just shortly. So let's take a look at a real use case. We've got a website in here, and inside that website, it's a plumber website. I just used one of the templates. I'm going to click on the home page, and you see that we've got this up. Now, I need to be able to give you a URL parameter without showing the rest of my URL bar. Give me 1 second.
You're good. Take your time.
Here we go. All right. So let's pretend this was yourbusiness.com or, theplumberbusiness.com. Think about this. Everywhere you see one of those little ampersands is a break in our URL parameter, right? So our source is Google, medium is paid search, campaign is summer promo, plumber near me is what somebody searched for, and they got variation 2 of our search ad campaign. And then Google's going to generate a click ID. This is literally just randomly generated, okay?
Gotcha.
So if we understand that conceptually, let's take a look at what happens when we add that to the end of the URL. And by the way, to populate that, these would always be hidden on my form. I'll go back to that in a second. These would always be hidden. I'm purposely showing them because I want you to be able to see that it populates. When I just add that URL parameter, now when I go down here, well, look at that. It's Google paid search summer promo, add to plumber near me, and there's my click ID, right?
Gotcha. So this means now you can link to this page, your website, from Google or from Bing or wherever. And as long
Social
as
media,
the
whatever.
link is set up the UTM,
Yep.
that's going to fill in on the form. And in real life, like as you just said, we're looking at these fields right now, but in real life, you can have hidden fields and forms. So the lead doesn't see any of this, but on the back end, it knows it's the same exact form being filled out, but the form knows this lead came from Bing, this lead
You
came
got
from
it.
Google. That's
And they auto-populate because check this out, right? You guys probably already know this. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but in here, because we added them as custom fields, it's super simple to just drag them over there. That's all I did. And now it automatically attaches it to the opportunity. And now check this out. All I got to do, once I'm ready, I've tested it, I know it's ready, I just go check these boxes and say hidden, and now they don't show up on the front end, right? Super, super simple for us to do that. And by the way, we talked about those, the URL parameters, like UTM source is Google, right? How do we know how to auto-populate that UTM source? Well, HighLevel tells us. See that query key right there?
Okay.
Query key is UTM underscore source, UTM underscore medium. I can set that to whatever I want. Like if I didn't want it to be UTM, I just wanted it to be medium, I can do that, right? But so again, find your naming convention, use whatever works. These are kind of industry standards, but now I can say, like, let's use a totally different example. Let's say you're using Yext citations, right? So your source might be Yext, your media might be citations, right? Now you get an idea that your leads are coming from your citations. Totally different rabbit hole, but you get the point. Like this use case is not limited to just SEO and search, social media posts, LinkedIn articles, customer newsletters, all that stuff, right? Just get a naming convention that works.
Yeah. So just to go back up to the top of the funnel really quick, wherever you are trying to drive traffic, let's say, for example, you're running Google search ads and you're running Facebook ads. When you're going to set up those ads, they're both going to link to plumbingmaintenance.com. But at the ad level, when you're setting up the ads, you would have it linked to plumbingmaintenance.com with the UTM parameter appended.
And by the way, your ad platforms do this dynamically. You can, if you're following the same naming conventions, they do it dynamically. There's a ton of videos on that. Super easy to set up. If you're doing it like in your Google business profile, you do it manually. Just make sure you test your URL. We'll actually do an example of that here in just a second. So if you're updating your Bing places or your Google business profile, you just manually set it one time and it works forever. So the form, as long as you understand those URL queries, that's all these UTMs are. They're just URL parameters that HighLevel's automatically picking up through the form.
And
but let's take a look at
the form able to discern where it came from via these custom fields, then you're able to go do a lot of magic inside of HighLevel.
They automatically tie it to the opportunity, y'all. It's so simple in HighLevel. And by the way, totally outside the scope of this, but let's say you've got a client that's on WordPress or any other content management system, even Jotforms or whatever. You can use webhooks and pass this stuff directly into the opportunity. I have it inside the masterclass. You can go dive into that, but you're not tied to just using HighLevel forms. They just make it really, really simple, especially to demo. But if you're running ads and you're running them to like a funnel page, you probably only have one conversion point, or at least you should. And so you're done, right? Like that, at this point, you're pretty well like 95% of the way there. But what happens if you're not running it to one page? Like now we got to remember our things pre-populated down here, all of our form fields, right? But what happens when they landed on this page, but then they clicked on our services and they read about our services and then they clicked on about us? Well, now they want to go, okay, yep, I've read about them. I trust them. I want to go fill it out. Well, man, our URL parameters fell off, right? Because when we clicked on our new page from Google or wherever it came from, they had the URL parameters, but now they've clicked through our menu. And so now those URL parameters dropped off, right? That kills all of our attribution reporting. Yeah. This doesn't work. Well, let's fix it. Inside of here, we have a snippet of code that's going to make your life easier. It's called code for header. Where do you think that goes? All you're going to do is you're going to go grab this.
I love that you made
code
it a
for the header.
Too. That's actually genius to me.
I wanted to save it as a custom value, but it doesn't go with the value, right? Like the actual value part doesn't go with the key. So basically all you're going to do, go copy this. And by the way, if you're doing this outside of HighLevel, like you're doing this inside of WordPress or something, you might have to change this. Don't be a JavaScript developer. Throw it in ChatGPT and test it. It will work. So now I'm going to go into my settings. I'm going to throw this into the head tracking code. I just copy and pasted it. If you wanted to get super clean with it, if you're OCD like I am, maybe you want to go into your custom values that already exist and you want to drop that into the custom value that says URL persist parameters as a custom value, then you can just put your custom value in there. You can load, my point being, in HighLevel, you can load custom values in the header code and it will parse it out correctly. So
in case
we're just going to do this.
Funnels, use it in different
you
places.
Got it. Yeah. Well, if you got a GTM, like a Google Tag Manager, you got this code. Maybe you're using a third-party tracking. Instead of having like line after line, like just massive amounts of it, cleaner and simpler. All right. So now we've got our UTM parameters where we're going to throw. Remember this guy? We're going to throw this back on there, right? So it's not on there now. I know you can't see my URL bar, but just to show you, it's not on there now. So I'm going to, and by the way, we may have to clear cache on this. So do play around with this. I'm going to clear the cache and refresh it. All right. Okay. So there's our URL parameter. But what happens when they click through to another page?
I have a hunch.
Hey,
nice.
I'm going to carefully show so you don't get a location ID or anything. You've got that URL parameter just stuck. So we are good to go. Now it does not matter if they click through to another page. So they're on services. Now they clicked about us. And now they click contact us. That JavaScript in the header is going to retain all of your URL parameters. You are good to go. So now when somebody clicks, they fill out this form or whatever it is you're doing, they've populated all this, they click submit, you've captured it. It's at the opportunity level. So now let's show our client how good we are. We've got a dashboard in here called Lead Gen Dashboard.
Nice.
It's very, very straightforward, right? So Google Ads, Google Organic, Google Bing. Let's just show you what goes into these, and then we're going to actually populate one. Edit, Google Ad. All right, so this is a count of the number of opportunities. If you want to do sum of revenue, super, super easy to do. But we're just going to do a count. How many different opportunities did we generate? So this is off Google Ads. The conditions, pipeline is the name of the pipeline, whatever you've got it as. Source is Google Ads, right? So let's just say that we wanted to do Google Organic. When you get one of these set up, just duplicate them and then change whatever the conditions are, right? So Google Organic. Bing Organic, right? So what I'm going to do is so this is with the pipeline and the attribution source. Let me just duplicate one. Let's do this. I want to say that I'm going to base this off a count of custom fields. My custom field is going to be my source. My source is going to be if it's equal to Google.
Gotcha.
And let's do one for like Google Business Profiles. Okay. So let's say that my custom field for this would be my medium is, and I'm going to do GBP. for
Yeah.
Google Business Profile.
Which
So
that's whatever you set it, right? 'Cause your
totally,
profile.
that's what I mean about your naming convention. So what I would do is in this URL parameter, right? Let's do this. Let's say I would go in and say that is going to be
Mhm.
plumbing services, whatever.com question mark. By the way, question mark in a URL just means everything after this is some kind of parameter.
Gotcha.
So UTM source equals Google, UTM medium equals GBP, and campaign equals local SEO. That's totally optional. It just helps me differentiate it. But now let's go back and take a look at, I'm just going to replace my URL parameters. Well, I thought I was. I did not copy and paste correctly.
The copy and paste gets us all.
All right. Oh, you know what it's doing? The JavaScript is repopulating it with the other stuff that
Oh, yeah, so the code is actually interfering
yeah, I
with
just
it.
got to clear the cache. Obviously,
Yeah.
that won't be a problem with your clients because it's not like they are going to get cached and come
Yeah.
back repeatedly. So let me clear out my cache. This would make a lot more sense if you could see the URL bar, but I totally understand.
Well,
And by the way,
yeah, you can show the URL bar for things that are relevant. It's mostly just to make sure the screen is bigger so we can see more of the high level content, but feel free to drag it down.
something to note, let's go back to site settings real quick.
Okay.
By default, in your site settings, HighLevel goes ahead and turns on optimized JavaScript image optimization. If you're running JavaScript and you're testing it, turn that off. That way it doesn't cache it.
Okay.
So we're going to go there, and then we're going to go back here, and we're going to try to clear our cache and hard refresh. And if that fails, as it currently is, we are going to run it in an incognito browser. So now it doesn't pick up the cache. Okay. So now we've got our Google Business Profile, local SEO, right? Now let's take a look at our dashboard. Remember, for a lead to qualify for our widget here, it has to meet the criteria in your conditions.
Yeah.
So this one is Google. I just changed the name and I'll say Google local SEO. So it makes a little more sense. And then let's shrink that thing and move it over here so it fits in like we're going to show it to somebody. All right. So what happens when we get this person? So I'm going to say Applin, HighLevel, example at test.com. These would all be hidden. So the person filling this out is not going to see this.
Yep.
Of course, it doesn't like the phone number. Okay. Now what happens here? If I use my URL parameters. Well, we got to see if I use my URL parameters correctly. That's why we test. And apparently I did not.
Well, this is actually still really helpful though, because I'm sure a lot of people will be at the point watching this masterclass where they're ready to go implement and test, and then they will see that it did not
You just
work the
reverse
first
engineer
time.
it. Yeah, you just reverse engineer it. So we're going to take a look.
So now we get to go see what the deal is.
Let me make sure that I'm even on the right website. Yep, on the right website. You know what? When I loaded this from the form, from the snapshot,
Mm-hmm.
it may not automatically map it to the opportunity. Snapshots, by the way, if you haven't played around with them, snapshots are a little bit funky. Go in here, make sure you save these. And then like this is not uncommon at all to have to go play around with it, right? So we're going to say test second 678 test2 at testing.com. You just saw that it auto-populated testing workflow. That's because this kind of thing, you got to test it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there's our lead. There's our test. So the first one, I don't know why. When you load it from the snapshot, just make sure you go into your form and save it so that it does pick up the opportunity. But you see that what happened was that lead came through and created an opportunity that matched the criteria of source equals Google and medium equals GBP for Google Business Profile. That could have been Bing and Bing Places. You get the point. But now all this is in real time. So when your client wants to see what's working well, you could have one for Facebook ads, Instagram ads, social media, organic, citation, like literally what I would recommend you do is take some notes on where you think your leads come from, whether it's your business or your client's business. Take some notes on where you think you're collecting all those leads from. Once you think you have that, make a widget for all of them, come up with your naming conventions. So if it's Google, well, how did they get to you on Google? Well, we're running some search ads, some YouTube ads, some display ads, and some call ads, and some local service ads. Well, that's 5 widgets right there. And now you can really, in real time, you can start to see what's converting and what's not. Where are your dollars being well spent and where are they not? Start turning these into, if we went in here, obviously I don't have a value associated with it, but if we went in here and changed this or duplicated it and changed the second one from count of opportunity to sum of revenue, we could put in our value right there. So now, and then you can filter on status equals won or status equals lost. So now you can say, hey, this ad campaign generated 212 leads. Out of those 212 leads, 86 of them won. And out of those 86, it generated $250,000 in revenue. We spent $36,000 on the leads. Our return on ad spend was whatever multiple that is. And guys, you want to get high dollar clients. You want to get somebody you can't make them leave you. This is how you do it. You show them real metrics in real time on their return on investment, and you've got them for life.
Awesome. That's so
Questions on any of this?
Yeah. No, I mean, well, people do have questions. I'm going to direct them toward the answers to that right now, but I just want to make it like a couple notes or riff on a couple things. First of all, I actually love seeing that didn't work the first time because so many people, especially beginners or whatever, it's like so common to get hung up and then give up really easily.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I just like, I hope everyone watching this video just was taking notes on the way, like even live and oops, sorry for that. Even
on a live demo, it screws up.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pressure.
Thousands of people audience. I was like, oh, he's going for it. All right, I hope it works. And then it didn't work. And it's just like, it's fine. This happens. It's like the seasoned pros are not worried when the first test doesn't work out. If you are trying to set some of this stuff up and you get into a corner where it turns out you needed to go resave a form, or that's kind of hard to completely diagnose on your own. Richard's obviously an expert at this, so he was like boom boom boom, and you will get there as well. I encourage you, if you try to follow along and get stuck in any of these places, 24/7 live Zoom support. Go click I'm actually going to share my screen really quick, Richard, if that's
absolutely,
right.
man.
So I will, because I just want to show you how it works. So boom, look over here. You see my screen right now, okay?
I got it.
Okay, sweet. So at anywhere you are in the app, doesn't matter for sub account, certain feature, or agency view, whatever, top right-hand corner, this blue question mark, pull up our support widget, click start Zoom. We've got an average wait time with our support team of like 2 minutes right now. So you will get on a one-on-one live Zoom call with an expert on our team who can help you start to diagnose that. So if you're working on trying to get UTMs up or custom values or whatever, and you just get stuck the way Richard did, and you're a beginner and you feel a little paralyzed, or you feel that like, oh, I'll never make it, or like this is too good to be true, and now it's the shoe is dropping or whatever, just get in contact with us, reach out to us. That's what we are there for. We may be able
Absolutely.
to help you out right away, or we may be able to help raise a ticket and escalate it to someone. You may uncover a high level bug that ends up helping out the whole community when it gets fixed. So
I've
who knows?
submitted several
Yeah.
and they're quick to jump on them. I mean, honestly, you guys are all in the group. You've seen when somebody submits something, the CEO of the company gets in there and starts tagging the team members. The speed at which they attack these bugs as they come up is unparalleled. You don't see that when you work with other CRMs. I'm not saying that because I'm on this masterclass. I'm on this masterclass because of that. I use HighLevel because of that. The
Amazing.
capabilities, the price point. I mean, you guys, it is a gold mine if you can really take advantage of this. Just reverse engineer it. And by the way, you want to talk about frustrating? Sometimes there's a caching issue. Remember when I said go turn off
Mhm.
JavaScript optimization? A caching issue means that it won't work. You'll walk away wondering why it didn't work, come back and it'll work the exact same way you just tried it because it's dumped the cache.
Oh,
And
funny.
so you'll think you're crazy, right? Just you got to play with the system to know where all the quirks are. That's true in any software.
Yep.
But with this, the two quirks that we just ran into that we worked through, one that it cached, and so eventually what we did was we went to an incognito browser, and now you can run it without any caching. And then the second thing we ran into was we needed to go in after we loaded the form from the snapshot. I literally loaded this right before the call just so I had the exact same view you guys were going to have. If you load a snapshot and it's got a form in it that's mapping to an opportunity or even to a contact, just go into the form and save it. But you'll find little things like that you can work through and then jump on with support. Ask it in the group. If you've got a ticket number, ask it in the group, post the ticket number, and then other guys. I can't tell you how much value I get out of the other people in the group. Just having access to some of the other people that are long-term users,
Yes.
it's worth the price of admission in and of itself.
Yes. So don't take it from me, take it from Richard. Absolutely. Community is where I was going to get to next. So I thank you for setting that up. Before I show that, I do also just want to say this is genuinely probably the most technical masterclass we've ever done. Some of the most technical content
Sorry.
that I've ever, no, do not apologize. This is absolutely fantastic value, but just especially for beginners watching this video, this is the most complicated that it gets. And actually, Richard, you did a fantastic job of helping make it a little more digestible for us. I learned a lot about UTMs on this call. I kind of didn't know what I was doing even. So I'm personally grateful. I know a lot of people in the audience are, but if you are watching this video and you're new to marketing, you're new to high level, you're new to the industry, whatever, just know that if you can do this, you can do pretty much anything else. Like there's so much, like, reporting and source tracking is a very complicated thing. That's just the way of the world. That's not high level culture. That's neither here nor there. We're doing everything that we can to simplify this. But to Richard's point, if you have questions more on the strategic side, first of all, you don't have to go all the lengths of complication in order to get the most out of it. If you just take the first bite and say, you know what, this business is going to turn on Facebook ads. So I'm going to make sure the link that it's going to has a UTM sourcing, like, Facebook ads. And that's it. And I'm going to add that one field to the form to make sure that that populates and correlates with the opportunity. So that way I can just count the leads I'm getting from Facebook. That's step one, right? And Richard showed us step one all the way through step 10. And the ascension from there is up to you, but it's really all about what do you need to be able to do. Because I remember from my agency days 10 years ago, it was a matter like the agency went to the client and asked, so how many sales did you make from this
You're
or that
right.
campaign?
Yeah.
In 2025, it should be and needs to
Yeah.
be the opposite. It will be the client coming to the agency saying, hey, how many sales did we make from your campaign? Because they don't even know. And it's your job to be able to tell them. And Richard's content today and his course is the answer to how you're able to do that. And so I do want to show you guys where the course lives. If you want to go deeper, go step by step, at your own pace through some of the ins and outs of the technical setup. We kind of sped through it and it was super valuable, but we have this whole companion course that you can go through at your own pace. It's Richard going over essentially the same content, but just even slower and more beginner oriented. In your HighLevel account, you should see a page that looks like this. If you see click here to switch in the top left, that means you are in the agency view, which is good. That's where you want to be. If you see the name of an actual sub account, for example, Chase Sandbox, when this page loads, we'll see that. So if it says the name of a business or an account in the top left, that means you're in sub account view, which is not where we want to be. So if you're in sub account view, click the go to switch to agency view. It will take you back into agency view. This is where we want to be. In agency view on the left-hand side, we have this button called University. Click that, and it will take you to a page that invites you to go to HighLevel University. You will click that, and I believe I'll be taken to the right place here. Sometimes it messes with my login stuff. Oh yeah. This is the HighLevel University. We have community. When Richard was talking about post in the group, if you have strategic questions, obviously tech questions like specific, like buggy type, it seems like the system isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, 24/7 live Zoom support. But if you have questions about how to operate your business or the strategic elements of what should I be reporting on, what's the most important, lowest hanging fruit for this thing, like anything, marketing strategy or business development, entrepreneurship, we have a full community of people all using HighLevel to grow businesses of all kinds, covering topics all across the sun, across the board, under the sun. I'm mixing my metaphors here, but this is where we have our private community where people just post questions and respond to them. It's like a little social media element. Super helpful to be able to connect with like-minded people trying to do the same thing that you're doing. We have experts, veterans, masters of marketing in our community who are totally willing to help. The culture here at HighLevel is totally like mutual support oriented, mutual aid oriented. And so we are really pride ourselves on trying to cultivate and facilitate connections between marketers. So I highly recommend you get into the university community, not just for the community, but also for the education. Over here on the learning tab, we have a full course library on every topic under the sun, ranging from beginner to expert. And the one at the top right now is this one called Attribution Reporting. And this is Richard Ward's course that he has so graciously and generously provided to us. And it's pretty dang straightforward. It's like, what, 8 or 9 modules? And
yeah, and it gets into some deeper rabbit holes as well. So if you guys have any questions, I mean, it's free, so go nuts. And if you have any questions or if you need it to modify to do something different for your business, please tag me, reach out to me, send me a message. I'm happy to help out.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, so I highly recommend you go through that course step by step. Check out the rest of our courses as well, especially if you're a beginner, if you're not exactly sure where you're going to go next with HighLevel or what's the best way to get started with HighLevel, whatever. If you're at the beginning of your journey, we have got a lot of super beginner friendly courses that range the technical implementation as well as the entrepreneurial development and how to set up and model a business built off HighLevel. So much stuff in here: AI, course creation, reputation management, paid ads, stuff that really makes a lot of
I actually just saw one that I plan on going and watching here shortly.
Nice. All right, so that is the big plug. That is your big call to action. You get into the university, review the content inside of Richard Whirley's course that he has so graciously provided to us. The last thing I'll say is that if all of this, you want this, but it's all just a little bit more complicated than you need right now, or you don't have the time and you kind of wish you could just snap your fingers and press the easy button and get this handed off to you, we have a fantastic certified admin community that is filled with people who are willing to help. And we actually facilitate that with our own live proctor tests, et cetera. And so if you need to, Richard, are you a certified admin with us?
I am.
You are, exactly. So
Yep.
if
I'm
you are
in
that
there
person,
and Yeah, the people that are doing these courses, I mean, obviously they know their own content. So if this one intrigues you, certainly you're welcome to hit me up.
Hmm.
Other people may have completely different use cases and ideas. So by all means, I mean, I get a ton out of all the other. There's some real power users inside a high level that you pick a branch of the tree of digital marketing, you can find some real heavy hitters inside the different groups of high level that are 9 times out of 10 really, really willing to help.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm biased toward education and empowerment, so I'm a big fan
Absolutely.
of watching courses, connecting with people, building community, and getting the answers that you need to actually be able to do stuff yourself. But at the same time, I know there's lots of folks who have a little bit more budget and not a lot of time at all, and they're watching
Yeah,
this
sure.
thinking, "I want that result, and I want it yesterday, and I don't want to ever have to think about UTM's again because I'm not techie." You can get in contact with someone like Richard, who can consult with you and actually implement this stuff for your business. So
Absolutely.
take the path that works best for you. Do whatever is going to be best for you. And yeah, definitely in any case, join the high level community because we're going to be super happy to have you there. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Richard, any last words of encouragement for the group before we sign off here?
Yes, I see so many people that say I'm close to quitting. I haven't gotten a client yet, or I can't figure out this fulfillment, or I don't know what service or what industry or whatever. I can assure you, I have worked at very high levels of the corporate world, and I have worked for myself. You are closer than you think to having a major breakthrough, and you're in the right group. The price point for high level is a force multiplier. It's an advantage you just don't even understand. Um, get really good at one or two things in it. Stop trying to sell the entire SaaS. Sell one or two features that you're really good at. And then once you've gotten a couple of clients on that, go get good at two or three others and then sell those. But you just don't give up on yourself. When you think if the answer was that simple, everyone would be doing it. So on the days, and I'm guilty of this myself, on the days where I go, man, I just can't figure this out. It's too hard. And I mean, we are a group of six and then a couple of contractors, and we're pretty technically capable. And I run into those thoughts sometimes weekly, where I just go, man, I'm never going to figure this out. You're closer than you think. And if the solution was that glaring and that easy, everyone would be doing it. It wouldn't be a differentiator for you. So be thankful for the grind, be thankful for the effort. And I assure you, you're in the right community to be able to make it work.
Fantastic. Well, I'll thank you one more time, Richard, for being willing to share this stuff with us and provide so much value to the community. Curious to see what you guys think watching this. I'm so excited to see what you do with this. Please make sure as you implement that you also post your wins in the community. Just share your journey, whether it's in our university or the Facebook group or wherever you are connected. I just encourage you to lean in and make sure that you're sharing the journey with us because that's how we all get encouraged together. That's how we all stick with it. Because, like you said, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner, if you've been doing this 10 years, you still wake up in the morning and have those days where you feel like you can't figure it out or you're not sure what to do or where to go. So, doing it all together really makes all the difference. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Richard, for providing all that wonderful content and sharing your wisdom. And that's been another high level masterclass. I will see you guys in the next one.
Had
Bye.
fun. Thanks, guys.